apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you. I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock, they worked in an investigation and actually worked with Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI. You united everyone. Everyone was united after you.
These are the respective voices of the family members of the slain in the Idaho Moscow murders. 4 victims were slain by Bryan Kohberger's own admission. This day is the sentencing and victim impact statements of the affected families. This is the timeline of how it began, but I was just about to give you an update on this case, and I realized he had pled guilty, to the shock of many people, not because he was innocent, but because he profoundly and adamantly claimed that he was not guilty. Then he asked, were others arrested? Such a play on the court system and the criminal justice system. It's despicable.
Here's the latest on the baffling twist in Bryan Kohberger's case. The legal peculiarity, a switch from not guilty to guilty. Initial plea. At his May 2023 arraignment, Kohberger remained silent, prompting the judge to enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. Cite turn search 20 turn search. Plea deal shift. Just days before his trial was set to begin in August 2025, he abruptly accepted a guilty plea in early July 2025. In exchange for pleading to all charges, 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary, he was guaranteed 4 consecutive life sentences without parole and waived his right to appeal, effectively sparing him from a possible death sentence.
Basically, we worked hard to do the things we did, through the times we were growing up. And through those times, I realized that I wanted both of them to graduate college, and that'd be the ultimate thing.
Given the heinous circumstances of these murders, it was surprising that there wasn't a lot more crying. In fact, some of the parents didn't even discuss outrage. They were empowered to keep the names of their respective children in a positive light rather than embolden Mr. Kohberger anymore.
After publicly maintaining innocence and aggressively delaying proceedings, surprised many and sparked questions about what occurred behind the scenes in those final weeks. Why it stands out. 1. Avoiding a death penalty trial. Prosecutors had sought capital punishment, but Kohberger's guilty plea sealed a deal to avoid the request for execution, a high-stakes bargaining chip. Cite Turn News 17 Turn News 11-9.
The judge in his sentencing mirrored this overall sentiment by not wanting to know how or why Bryan Kohberger committed these heinous acts of murder. Instead, he was resolute about his sentencing and delivered it in a matter-of-fact manner.
10 years fixed, 0 years indeterminate. I also impose a fine of $50,000. Count 2, first-degree murder of Madison Mogan. I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 3, for first-degree murder of Kaylee Gonsalves, I sentence the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine fine of $50,000 and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the victim of the family, or to the family of the victim, pardon me. On count 4, for the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, I sentenced the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. On count 5, from the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, I sentenced the defendant to a fixed term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a fine of $50,000, and a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. The sentences on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 shall run consecutively to one another. Restitution will be left open for 60 days. Defendant will be required to submit a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression to the Department of Corrections and comply with the DNA Database Act. I remand the defendant to the custody of the Idaho State Board of Corrections for to be imprisoned in an appropriate facility and execution of the sentence where he will remain until he dies. Though you've waived your right to appeal, you do have a right to file a notice of appeal. And any such appeal must be filed within 42 days of the date of the written judgment, which will be entered shortly hereafter. Though the appeal, you should be aware, may be deemed a violation of the plea agreement, and so I certainly suggest you discuss that with counsel if that is your desire. I ask the media and public present to allow the families to be escorted out first before they leave. Again, thank you to everyone for your stories today. I am strengthened by them, and I am encouraged by your humanity and strength. And God bless you. We're adjourned.
I've been told that, I've been countless ways that she's out there and has a way to communicate.
Rest in power, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, forever remembered, gone too soon. Rest in power, never forgotten, justice for the 4.